Hi, welcome to this video today, which is on the subject of best trading books. Now, in today's video, I'm going to review 6 books, which basically review some of the best hedge fund traders of all time and the strategies they employ, how they manage risk, the psychology that they have as well. Now, the books, they're all great books and they're not very expensive. They're a great investment in your FX education. Now, we're going to go and review the books. Just before we do so, though, if you want to learn more about the best trading strategies and get the best trade setups mailed to your inbox, join our free mailing list on the link beneath this video. You can also follow us on Facebook, join our Facebook group of traders as well. Right, let's go and take a look at the books. Right, the first of 6 books, just a very quick review of each, then you can go and explore more on Amazon. Now, in terms of this book, it might be familiar to people watching this video, or the author might well be. Jack D. Schwager. He wrote the Market Wizard series of books, of which this is one, and they're considered essential reading by most great traders. The book itself follows the format of the other Market Wizards books. It's interviews with top traders. He interviews 15 in this book. I really liked all the interviews. The ones I particularly liked were a guy called Scott Ramsey, Ray Dalio, Colin O'Shea, and Ed Thorpe. Near enough 500 pages in length, but really, really good read, and you'll learn something from all the interviews. Right, next book, Inside the House of Money by Steve Dromby. Not as well known as Hedge Fund Market Wizards, but it's written in a very similar style, and it's just as good in my view. He interviews top hedge fund traders, but he also gives a lot of background to the hedge fund industry and how it's evolved over the years and macro trading in general. Okay, now in terms of the book, in my view, it's worth the money just for one interview alone, which is a guy who runs his own private hedge fund called Jim Leitner. One of the best interviews with a trader I've ever read. Okay, so highly recommended. Next book, A Man for All Markets, Edward Thorpe. He's kind of a legend in financial markets. He's got one of the best track records ever in terms of gains to drawdown. He invented the first, or devised the first quant fund, hedge fund. He was the original algorithmic trader. He had a long history on Wall Street, but what also is fascinating is how he started out in Vegas. He devised a way of beating the casinos. Okay, now he wrote the book Beat the Dealer, which actually showed you how to card count in blackjack and win. Got chased out of the casinos, and he actually said, at least on Wall Street, I can allow my edge to work for me, and I won't get thrown out. So obviously he did that, made a huge amount of money. Book really good. A lot of insight into trading probabilities, the basics of how Thorpe made money, and he comes over as a really, really likable guy. Okay, deserves its near enough. Well, it's 4.5-star rating here. Next book I'm going to go to, Hedgehogging. I really like this book by Barton Biggs. He was a guy at Morgan Stanley. He started off at the research department. Then he was their global strategist, and I think he was voted the top global strategist for 5 years on the trot. It's a great insight into the hedge fund industry. A lot of witty stories. The guy's got a very sort of humorous way of writing. He's very philosophical about the markets. He goes a lot into psychology. I just think it's a fantastic read. The Man Who Solved the Markets, or The Man Who Solved the Market by Gregory Zuckerman, is a book about Jim Simons. He is, they say here, the greatest moneymaker in modern financial history. He's by far and away the best hedge fund manager around today. I think they do average compound annual growth of something like 60%, which is phenomenal. Now, in terms of the book, it is about him and the history of his fund, which is called Renaissance. The one thing I would say before reading this book is Renaissance is extremely secretive. You do learn some general investment wisdom, but you're not going to learn much about how Renaissance actually operates in the market. But it is a fascinating book in terms of learning about how algorithmic traders trade, how important they are in the markets, and why. You get a lot of traders who want to trade mechanically. Retail traders, why you just cannot compete with these guys. Okay, there's a little bit on politics at the end, which doesn't really do it for me, but it's worth reading. Obviously, top investor operating in the world, or top hedge fund manager. My next book I'm going to go to is another one. It's by Steve Dromby. It's called The Invisible Hand. Now, in terms of this book, it's you get insight into hedge fund trader strategy. It's again like you did in Inside the House of Money, but it's more to do with risk management, controlling risk, and how top traders that he interviews have changed their money management over time. It might sound a bit boring if it's focused on risk management for a lot of people watching this video. It isn't. It's a really fantastic read, just like Inside the House of Money. So there's 6 books, but I'm going to do a 7th as a kind of bonus. I think it's worth reading. And it's not about a successful hedge fund. It's about one that failed dramatically. And it was long-term capital management. I think, it's a great story because, it needed to bring down the financial system in 1998. The fund had to be saved. They were too big to fail. And at the time, the Federal Reserve had to pump liquidity into the markets to help banks that were exposed from long-term capital management going down. They're still doing that today, aren't they? Saving banks and big brokers. We saw that in 2008. But the thing about it is, in terms of the people at the fund, they were just so, how would I put it, arrogant. They were Nobel Prize winners there. They really felt they could beat the markets. It just all ended in tears. Okay, but it is a really, really good read. Okay, you can see by the ratings, 4.5 stars. You're not going to learn anything to help you in your strategy apart from there is no such thing as a surefire trade, and don't get too exposed in the markets. But a really good read. They're the books. I think they're all good reads, and I hope you explore them on Amazon. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching.